and we're recording. Oh, it even said we're recording in progress. Hi, Dan.
Well, hi.
Hopefully this will work. This is our first
Sure.
time doing like a split screen video thing.
Yeah.
And this is my dog. She'll probably
Oh,
irritate us throughout this whole video. I'll probably have to let her out like 1,000 times.
okay. Well, welcome everyone to Ben and Danielle Reviews. I'm Ben.
I'm Danielle. This is Nala.
And today is the final installment of our top 10 games of all time for 2023, an annual thing that we did. I did my 50 through 11 already. And then Danielle is doing her top 10 here.
Yeah, I don't have 50.
That's all right.
But I have 10.
We'll get to that point. So why don't you start with your number 10?
Well, so mine aren't in any order because I don't
Okay.
have an order of like what my favorite ones are, whatever. But
okay, sure.
So I guess I'll start with, well, that one's actually one of my favorite ones, so I will save that for last. So even though they're not in order, I do have like
so we'll
favorite.
just go as see if you can do it as you go. Then that'll be interesting.
Oh, do my list as I go.
Yeah. See,
I can
see how that works.
try that. All right. So first we'll start with which I think I've talked about this before, Pandemic.
Yeah, that's
First of all, I love cooperative games. And this
Sure.
one you're trying to eradicate a virus. So I always really like this one. It's super fun. So
awesome. Yeah, Pandemic.
Yeah, and apparently mine is a demo copy, but
Okay.
it's still Pandemic, and I really like it. So you work together to eradicate a virus. So, what's yours,
Yeah,
Ben?
I just got Pandemic Iberia, so I need to try that one.
You got Pandemic what?
Iberia.
Oh, I don't have that one.
I'll have to try that one out. That one's supposed to be just like the base Pandemic, except for like more like old fashioned, like European, like old, like
it's not one of the legacy
European
ones, is it?
No, it isn't. It's one of the main box ones.
Okay, you'll have to let us know what you think of it.
Okay, my number 10 is New York Zoo. It is a tile placement game by Uwe Rosenberg. It's at my number 10 spot this year just because it's a game that I have taught a lot over the course of the year. It's really easy to get into. I've had a lot of success teaching it to new gamers and people that haven't played very many games. Had a lot of success teaching it to younger people as well as older people as well. And
it looks very cute.
Yeah, so it has the like animal meeples, and you got little polynomial shaped pieces, and you're racing to fill up your board before everyone else does.
Oh,
and
cute.
Yeah. So you have an elephant that goes around this board here, and on your turn you can move the elephant up to 3 spaces away and either take animals to place on your tiles, or you can place a new tile if you have enough animals left over in your I guess houses here to place on a new tile that you take. And that's fun. New York City. Yeah. Really fun. Simple game that I've had a lot of success with. We haven't played this yet, have we?
I have not. No.
Okay. Yeah, you would like this.
Yeah, it looks cute.
On BGA, but it's definitely a cute one for sure. That is my number 10.
My next one I'll talk about is this is Shadowhunters. This one's kind of hard to get these days, I hear. But this, I love this game. You sit around and it's kind of a deductive reasoning game type of thing. It's you're trying to take down the shadows and you have to figure out who's on your team. Are you with the hunters? Are you a shadow? Or are you like a neutral character? And then you have cards. So you can draw a card and you can give it to another player to ask them a question because you're trying to figure out who's on your team. It's got the art, I think, is kind of cool. And I just think this is a super fun game. And you can fight each other along the way. So you're not going to like it if you don't like to play lying guessing games. But I think anybody could actually sit down and play it because it's super fun. I love it.
So it's like a secret, like hidden deduction game, sort of?
Yes, that's the words I was looking for.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, looks like it's pretty out of print and pretty hard to find.
It is, yeah. So if you know anybody who has it, I recommend playing it. And they have cards that like give you equipment that can kind of help you fight other people and or kind of boost you up. So it is out of print and hard to get, but if you know anybody in your gaming groups that have it, I highly recommend giving it a try.
Okay. What's the player count on that? Like how many?
I think it's 4 to 8.
Okay, so it's a bigger size party game.
Yeah. I'm trying to see where it says on the box. I don't see where it says on the box.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's 4 to 8. Oh
Okay.
yeah, 4 to 8, and it says it takes about 60 minutes to play.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
Is that what do you usually play that at? Like what player count would you say would be
So I've
for
played it with. I think the highest group I've played it with might have been 6.
Okay.
I would recommend more people because it's not if you just play like 2 or 3 or 4. I don't think. I
Gotcha.
think you need a bigger group.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at my top 10 here. I think New York Zoo plays up to 5, but that's pretty much it for games that have play at higher player counts. And looking at them, they look like I think they're all in print too, so that's a good thing. So
Yeah. I think the rest of mine should still be in print. It's just not that
hey,
one, which, you know,
that's okay.
yeah,
Doesn't
I
make
love it.
make you less like it any less. It just
Yeah, I know. And I
requires
still,
other people to get.
yeah. So, but
Sweet. Awesome. And my number 9 is a game that was out of print for a long time. It's harder to get just because there's no like good distribution for it. That it's kind of a one-man job for one-man company, and that's Obsession. It is it's a game about what you're running a family in Victorian England. And so yeah, so you have servants that you use that will help you run events, and every round you're running a new event, and you have family members and other guests, and some guests will give you money for attending their letting them attend your event. Some people will give you more prestige, which will let you play more guests, and others will bring more guests along and will give you more cards to play during your turn.
what kind of events do you
So
run?
it's like old timey stuff, like running balls and running events in the library and just different things that people do. It did back in Victorian time.
Yeah, I
You're
bet
just
that's
trying.
fun.
It's very snobbish. It's very Pride and Prejudice.
I mean, even the box says Pride, Intrigue, and Prejudice. Ooh, in
Yeah.
Victorian England.
Yes, it's not a looker, and but you can see here some of the cards they use old photographs of like
Oh, I
old.
love it.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of like the passion project of one man. One guy kind of did all the work for it himself, and
Wow, that's
yeah,
impressive.
yeah,
Very
and
cool.
he runs the company all basically by himself and in charge of shipping and everything, and handles all the emails. You can email the guy, and he'll give you a response back in like half an hour. He's active on his BGG account for this game, and
Oh, very
yeah,
cool. I like that when they're interactive.
someone I've talked to him a few times about that, and it's a fun little game. It's pretty dry, so it's not for everyone, but I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Obsession, my number 9.
I'll talk about stuffed fables.
Oh
I love,
yes, we need to play that.
yeah, I love this game. I actually think that this is a really good, like if you have kids and you want to get them into role playing game, but you're like,
Sure.
oh, I'm not ready to put them into like Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. This is a good one to start. It has a storybook that you kind of read, and it's almost like a choose your own adventure because you're like trying to save this little girl. She's sleeping, and you're trying to save her from like the outside monsters. And so all her little stuffed animals come to life to kind of protect her and help her. And you can play. So it's got the minis. It's got the minis, and then here's the picture of the storybook, and then there's the one side of the book has the story and guides you with what to do, and then the other side of the book is like the board game part. So you move your character around and you get equipment and you go on these adventures to help save this little girl. And I mean, come on, how cute is it? So, but it's good because it's kind of like the choose your adventure where you're like, oh, do you want to take the path on this train over here, or do you not want to get on the train and do you want to go over here? And then so it kind of gives you an opportunity to kind of work together to think about where should we go to kind of help better protect this little girl. So I like it. It's cute.
Yeah, we need to play that still. We were
Yeah.
supposed to play that and then we didn't. They have a new game that came out last year called Familiar Tales
Oh, I
as
don't
well.
have that one. I have the expansion of this, but I haven't
Yeah,
done the expansion yet. But
yeah. So
I
they,
haven't picked up their other one yet.
yeah, but you have their first one, Mice and Mystics, and yeah.
I do have Mice and Mystics. I almost put that in my pile, but I haven't played it enough yet to
Okay,
talk about it. So,
sweet.
but,
That's
okay.
good though. My number 8 is a game that has lots of expansion content for it. Most of it was Kickstarter exclusive though. They just wrapped up their third Kickstarter campaign for it, and that is Marvel United. Marvel
Oh,
United.
you've talked about this one a lot.
Yeah, Marvel United is a cooperative game in which you are working together as superheroes. You pick a superhero, pick a villain, and then everyone works together with their hero to defeat the monster, the villain. So you have 6 locations, and they go in a circle, and you move from location to location, defeating thugs, rescuing civilians, and trying to make sure that the each location doesn't overflow with bad guys or civilians that need to be rescued. And when they do overflow, bad things happen. And once enough bad things have happened, then you lose the game. Each villain has a different uh, objective, so it really adds to the variability, especially if you have a bunch of different villains you can play as. And then each player has their own personal deck of cards that's specific to each hero. It has certain powers in it, special abilities, and there's a timeline that's played in. And so your abilities, you get the abilities of your own card, plus you get the abilities of the person that went in before you as well. So you also have to kind of think ahead of like what you want to play, because you're not only do you get your own abilities, but you also have to get the person before you. So I'm like, what
Oh, that's
can
kind of interesting. So you
yeah,
get to
so
use your special power, whatever, and the person who went before you. So your ability changes every round.
yeah. And so you also have to keep in mind, like, hey, can my opponent use this, or can only I use these abilities? Because if my opponent, so if, like, for example, I play a bunch of attack abilities and my opponent doesn't have any thugs or sidekicks on their location, then they're kind of stuck doing absolutely nothing on their turn. But you have a bunch of thugs on your location, so trying to find the balance between the two of what help you and what can help your opponent
And since
and
it's
your
cooperative, though,
teammate. Yeah, yeah,
since it's cooperative, you can ask the person, hey,
sure.
yeah, and
Yes,
then that will help you too.
for
Oh, I
sure.
like it. I'll have to try that. I haven't played that
Yeah,
one.
it's my number 8, Marvel United. Definitely excited for when the new stuff comes out. They did Multiverse, so it was like a Captain Carter as Captain America versus the other Captain America. There was yeah, so
Oh,
like yeah. So
like
it's
the What If
multiverse characters.
series.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. And then there was like Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, and that
Oh,
kind of
nice.
so tapping
Nice.
into more of those characters.
My next one is unfortunately it's only a 4-player game. I haven't looked to see if they have expansions yet, but it's called Ex Libris. You could
Hey,
probably get 2 copies to play with a bigger group, but I don't know if that would make sense. You're building a library, so if you like books, this is the game for you. And you have so the object is to get as many of the books kind of in order as you can, and then whoever has the most points at the end wins. And then you get like a market card to where you lay down a few cards, and then they can help you like trade up or do something different on your turn, just to kind of add some spice so you're not just like building a library. But I really like it because I like books and it's actually fun, but it does kind of suck that it's only a 4-player game. But if you want to have a smaller group, it's a good game to play. And who wouldn't want to be building a library with books? So I like it.
Nice.
I'm not very good at describing and going into great detail, so I apologize.
That's all right. So are we on number 7? No,
I
7?
think
Yeah.
so.
Number 7.
Four.
Yeah. My number 7 is Shem Phillips' game, Garfield, Architects of the West Kingdom. So Architects of the West Kingdom is a worker placement game, which you are placing your workers in different places to get you resources. And once you have enough resources, you can build up the cathedral. Or if you have building cards in your hand, you can build those as well. And they'll give you points based on what you've built and how far you've gotten. So you have a bunch of workers in front of you, start with a bunch, and then on your turn, you just place one in a spot. And how effective each spot is with getting you resources is based on how many workers you have. So the first time you place a worker in like the lumber yard, you get 1 wood. But the second time you place a worker there, you get 2 wood. Third time you get 3 wood, and so on. So you can put more workers in spots to get more workers. But also, if you have too many workers in a spot, your opponent can go to the town center and be like, hey, this person is causing a ruckus and at the lumber yard, and you can like snatch up all your opponent's workers from that spot and be like, and then you can hold them on their board, and then you can go to the jailhouse and then drop them in the jailhouse and get silver coins for them.
Oh, so you can arrest them. You can get them
Yeah.
arrested.
Yes, you can have people. You can have your opponent's workers arrested in this game.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, and then they have to go visit the jail to get their workers back. So,
That's
yeah.
funny. And then you
And
use
then
probably like the wooden stuff that you get to like buy stuff, right? Kind of like in the other worker
you
placement
just
games.
use it to build things. You'll
Oh,
have
okay.
silver coins, like metal coins that you'll use to buy things, and you'll get like different like laborers to help you build things. Like some buildings will require certain types of workers to help you, types of builders to build things.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I'll
And
have to
then
try that.
yeah, it's fun and definite. You can also go to the tax stand, and if you're feeling devious, you can go to the tax stand and like rob the tax stand of all the taxes that people paid. And then you can also go if you don't feel like getting your money, like earning your resources, you can go to the black market and take what you need from the black market, but you lose prestige for that, and you lose prestige for building the tax for robbing the tax stand. But the more things you've done that are bad, it kind of hurts you, and you start losing points. And once you get to a point on that track, you can't build the cathedral
And I
because no
imagine
one
that
will trust you.
the prestige is what you use to score at the end of the game to win.
Yeah, it's one of the things that helps you score in the game at the end of
So
the
you
game.
don't want to be shady throughout the whole game.
No. And
So,
yeah, and then you start going into debt because there's debt cards that you have to pay off, or if you can't pay them off by the end, then you lose points.
oh, that sounds interesting. I like the little twists.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Architects of the West Kingdom. Your number 6.
Or whatever, because they're not really in any order.
Yeah,
I've
so
talked
6.
about this game quite a few times.
Yeah.
Betrayal. I only have the Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, which is the D&D version.
Sure.
I've actually not played this one as much as I've played the original. I just don't own the
Sure.
original. But the premise is the same. You lay down your tiles, you explore things, and then if you draw omen cards, some of them, well, I think all of them actually will be like, okay, roll for a hunt now. And then one person's going to break off and be the betrayer and then try to take down the party. I cannot rave enough about Betrayal. I love it. It's fun. This one though has a D&D element, so you can play like D&D type characters, and then it has some monsters that are kind of like spiders and whatever that you find in D&D. But so I like it. It's super fun. Betrayal's always my favorite. And this one it says it's 3 to 6 adventurers. So
yeah, I think the horror one is a little easier to teach people and easier to get into from my experience.
Yeah, I think this one has a few other things in it that's a little different from the original because it's got that D&D element to it. But and so if you've never played D&D, you might be like, "What?" Um, but they're both fun
Yeah,
to play.
sure. My number six is a winery game. It's another worker placement called Viticulture. So viticulture is a game in which you are running a winery and you are planting grapes and you're harvesting those grapes, putting them in a crush pad, crushing them up, bottling them up, and then placing wine orders. So
I, I wonder how many people have actually turned that into a wine drinking game.
I don't know. It's a pretty thinky uh, worker placement game, actually. There
and
are like
making
this. What's that?
and making wine.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it pretty?
It's very like Euro style, so
Okay.
it's pretty like rustic, I guess.
Yeah. I bet it's fun.
Yeah, it's really good. There's worker placement spots, and the number of workers placement spots available uh, at each location is determined by how many people are playing the game. So if it's like a two-player game, you only get one spot for each location. So turn order is determined based on how early you want your workers to wake up in the morning at that during that year. Yeah,
I'd
so
be like,
you can
you're getting up at 4 a.m.
yeah, so you can have your like say like, hey, my workers are getting up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. every day, and then you'll get to go first in the round every time. You'll get to make sure that every season you get to do all your the proper things that you wanted to do. But
Nice.
your opponent might be getting like a better bonus, like they'll be getting a better card, or might be getting like victory points or an extra worker to use during the season or something like that, based on how early they woke up.
Nice.
Yeah,
Ben is so much better at giving instructions and definitions of these games.
it's all good. You're doing a good job.
Okay, so my next one, this is probably like I have a few that I'm like, I don't know which one's my top favorites, but this would be one I'd be debating on. Sentinels of the Multiverse, which is very similar to your Marvels United. I love Sentinels of the Multiverse. I have couple of the expansions. I have the big Oblivion game, which I've actually yet to sit down and play because it takes forever. But this, you are playing superheroes, and they're similar to like the superheroes you would know. Like there's one that's super fast. There's one that's kind of like the Punisher. There's one that's kind of like a mystic character that can do spells. So you play your superhero, and then you've got a villain that you're trying to take down, and then you've got an environment that's either working with you or against you. I feel like it's more working against you than with you. But some of the environment stuff will hurt even the villains and you, so it's kind of fair. And it's cooperative, so you're working as a superhero team. And I love this game. It's one of my top favorites.
That's awesome.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, so one thing I noticed about that game is it's one of those games that people really love or they really, really dislike. It's
Yeah,
I really like no.
everybody I've played it with seems to think it's all right. They seem to like it enough.
That's good.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
one of
feel
those
like
games
it
that most
would be
people that review games, they're like it's either one of their favorite games or they just really, really don't like that game at all.
this one in particular, Sentinels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I probably like it because I like
It's a
the art because I like comics and I love cooperative games
yeah, it's one
and
I'll
it's
definitely give a try
super good.
to.
It's super
Yeah,
good. So,
nice. Right. Top five now. So my number five is another worker placement game by Shem Phillips in the sort of Garfield Games line, and that's Raiders of the North Sea.
ooh,
So they have so there's three games in the North Sea trilogy, and there's three games in the West Kingdom trilogy. This is the best one in the North Sea trilogy. So it's a worker placement game where you're going to different locations and you are building up your crew uh, of raiders, and then once you have your crew that you need and you have enough provisions and coins, you can go to different locations on the board and raid different locations for all of its resources.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're stealing.
Yeah, so you're stealing resources from different locations, and there's different types of workers. So there's the black workers and white workers and gray workers. And in town, each worker color gets you a different reward in different spots. On some locations, white workers are give you more benefits, and other locations, the black workers or the gray workers will give you more benefits and resources. And you're just trying to build up the most amount of resources in order and have a large enough crew, a good enough crew that you can go on these raids and get resources, and then turn those resources into points back in town.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
that is Raiders of the North Sea.
So my next one, I actually debated between two, and I don't own either one of them. But Ben, you own one of them. I loved Chronicles of Crime when we played that,
Yes.
and I also love Clank. Um,
Okay.
Clank is a deck builder game, with it's kind of a dungeon crawl
Sure.
deck building game, but Chronicles of Crime, which you'll probably be able to describe better than I will.
Yes.
But what I liked about it, so I've only played it once with Ben.
Yeah, we gotta
But
play more scenarios.
I thought it was super fun. You had an app that we used, and so you're trying to solve a murder of some kind. We played, was it the 1920s one that we played?
1900.
1900.
Oh no,
And
1400, I think, because it was
1400.
medieval time.
And
Yeah.
you have this app, and it takes you like through like a village, say, and then you can like stop and like talk to people,
Yeah.
and then you can search the room for clues. And so you would take your phone and you would kind of like wave it around your room, and it would show you this room, and it would show you clues. And I thought
Yeah.
it was really super fun. So it's
was
definitely one that I would put in my top 10.
awesome. Yeah, it's definitely one that it's really group dependent. I think I have more fun when playing with you. I tried playing it with people at work like a month ago, and they just did not have fun, and then they were acting like they were super bored the whole time. And
Oh,
so
well, maybe they're not into true crime stuff or something. I mean, I don't know.
yeah, so that's just one I want to probably only play with you
Yeah.
if I can.
I actually haven't, well, I mean, I don't own it yet, but I haven't, so I've only played it with you, but
Yeah, but
I've told my gamers about it, been like, oh, here's my other dog, by the way, in case you guys wanted to meet Juno. But I just haven't picked it up yet.
Yeah, definitely have to play some more scenarios of that.
Yes.
All right. My number 4 is Everdo.
Oh, I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, so Everdo is another worker placement game. I think that's was that like a 5th worker placement game in my top 10?
You like the worker placement games?
Yeah, I guess so. So Everdo is a really beautiful game here, and it's got a big board with this giant tree, and you are going to different places, and you are building up your own little forest critter town of sorts, and a little city. And
That looks cute.
yeah, it's super adorable. It's a really good production. They just came out with a complete edition, which was like $250, and so you got like every expansion with it. But it's like weighs like 30 pounds, I think, once you're done with it.
Oh, geez,
yeah. But I just have
lot.
the base game, and the base game is plenty for me. I don't really play it enough to justify getting all that. But you go to different locations with your workers. You have your workers will each location gives you a different kind of good, and you'll turn those in to get critters and get different buildings built, and buildings will give you different powers, and the critters will give you different powers to help you build up the city even better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Everdo.
Okay. We've only got 9 minutes and 30 seconds left before I run out of time on our recording.
Okay.
So, but I think we're wrapped almost done. Okay, so this one's a big one, and this is another game I've only played a couple times, but I love this game. And I was gifted the Mega Box.
Oh, you got it.
I have the mega box. So I haven't played it with the expansions yet because it comes with the
Yeah.
herb witches and the alchemists.
Okay.
And I just have the basic game. So it
Yeah.
doesn't have all the cool pieces like what you keep talking about. It's just the normal
Yeah.
piece.
We can get you those though.
But this, I love this game. You are
Yeah.
basically making potions, and you don't want your potions to explode. The only thing I noticed though with it, because if your potion explodes, you either lose a buying ability or a point ability or something. I don't think the
Yeah.
consequences is that big of a deal.
Sure.
I mean, it could maybe
It
change
it
if
is
you
when you're
win,
like really tight on resource on points. It's
like
really
towards the
close.
end. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it could matter. But I cannot get enough of this game. I love it so much.
Yeah. A lot of the
So
people around here really love that game too, and
yeah.
I'm starting
So
to play it more than I want to.
I need to play it with the expansions because I haven't done
Sure.
that yet. Um,
Sure.
so
I know
when
it
I
adds
do
a
that,
fifth player to it.
it does, yeah. So it can
Yeah.
play up to 5. So when I do that, I'll get back online and let you guys know what I think of that.
Yes.
I think I have to let my dogs out. I'll be right back. So Ben,
All
you
right.
start talking about your next favorite game while I let these
Okay.
dogs out.
It's Mansions of Madness. So number 3 is Mansions of Madness. It is a game that we played quite a bit of. It's a Cthulhu Lovecraftian game in which you have a scenario and it's an app driven and you are just trying to accomplish the goal of the game, which changes by scenario. It is a horror mystery game. It's
That is a
pretty
fun
thematic.
one.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's very thematic. Mansions of Madness.
I've played that with you. I like it. I think we're only down to a couple, right?
Yep, 2 left.
2 left. Okay, so mine, I can't not tell you guys that this is not one of my favorite games. And I even brought Lady Avalon. She's my character I'm playing.
Nice.
We're playing a Spelljammer adventure. I mean, I love D&D. It's probably one of my all-time favorite games. Again, it's cooperative, and I like it when there's a lot of stress and drama involved. It winds me up, and I just love playing it.
Nice.
I don't
So
know
my
what else
number
to say about it. I even see represent.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So my number 2 and my number 1 were pretty close. I was debating back and forth, but I think this is still number 2, and that's Grand Austria Hotel. And so Grand Austria Hotel is a dice worker placement game. So another worker placement game, which you are managing the guests that come into town. So you'll seat them at your table in your cafe, and then they will want certain types of food and drink like coffee, wine, strudel cake. And then once they've been fed, you have to put them up in a room upstairs. And so you not only managing your guests and feeding them, but you also have to have rooms available for them to stay in for the night. And then
that sounds fun.
Yeah, and then you also have to appease the emperor too, because I think it's 3, 5, and 7. After the end of those rounds, then the emperor will, if you haven't satisfied the emperor enough, then he will have caused bad things to happen. He will punish you, and
You don't want that. Sorry, my cat's misbehaving now. So,
all right. And
all right, my last one that I picked is Magic. So I don't have. I mean, obviously, I don't have much to. Well, no, that's not true. I mean, if y'all can see behind there, there's lots of Magic cards. But this is one of my favorite decks I made. This is from the Ikoria set. I literally bought a booster box and made my commander deck while I was opening all the packs. Doesn't necessarily win all that much, but it's super fun to play. And then lately I've been playing this one, which is my red blue deck, and this one's fun to play too. I don't really know how to describe it. I played Commander is my favorite format. You know, you have your one head commander and then you have the 99 cards and you're just trying to take your opponent down. It's a very strategic game. Everybody says it's one of the most complicated games you can learn to play because of all the rules and the stacks and blah, blah, blah. I barely win, but I love to play it.
Nice.
So I don't know if I would say D&D might be my top favorite and then Magic.
Okay.
But I don't know.
There you go. And my number 1, I'm pretty sure you know what my number 1 is.
I wonder what that could be. Yep.
Spaceman.
Yep.
It was, it almost got overtaken, but I just play it way too much, and I've just had way too much success teaching it to people. Yeah. Managing your birds, and those birds you'll get more birds and get more resources to get more birds and birds.
It's all about the birds.
All about the birds.
Birds
Yeah.
are very cute.
Yeah. It's not a theme that necessarily the one I driven to, but it's just mechanically just sound, and it's one that I has a wide appeal to people, and I just one I can teach anyone, honestly. So that's why it's my number one.
Yeah, I've heard it's a really good game.
Yeah, it is. We have to play that too.
Yes, we do.
All right. And that is my top 10 games of all time.
And that's my top 10 as well. Kind of 11 since I mentioned Clank and Chronicles of Crime, but that's okay.
But thank you everyone for watching. And
Yep.
if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and like button. And we'll see you at the next one.
And
have a good one.
Comment below like what your top favorite game is at least. We'd like to know what you guys are playing.